Hello, and thank you for checking out Virtuosity. Today I'll be talking about masculinity and what it means to be a man. Masculinity is qualities or attributes regarded as being characteristics of men. It is vital to a man has great power over us. As a man, we want to be strong for either ourselves or for others. That is an incredible thing to want to obtain. Feeling you can take on what life throws you is a worthy and honorable goal to want to achieve. But today, masculinity has a negative connotation to it. It has become a term used when someone is being a brute or trying to get everyone's attention. What it means to be a man has been negatively represented in society. This is very troubling because inside every young boy is a desire to grow to be a man. This has caused many boys to be discouraged from being who they want to be. Masculinity means many different things to many different people, and today I would like to discuss the truth of masculinity. As young boys, we all want to grow up to become men. We think this is done by doing something adventurous and dangerous like being an astronaut, or something mythical like a superhero. Though we may not have thought of it at the time, this desire to adventure is usually manifested by the desire to be rugged and manly. It is this desire to work towards becoming a strong man that never leaves us. We men put on a front to show everyone else that we are men, but none of us are completely secure in our masculinity. We all have insecurities that lead us to protect our idea of being a man. And we've come to believe that being invincible means that you are a man. Sadly, this is not the case, no matter how much we tell ourselves we are. This idea of being invincible has stopped much adventure in our lives. This is because many of us believe we are invincible because we haven't tried anything out of our comfort zone. Living in the comfort zone is easy and addictive. This is not where men are forged. Some of us even believe we have found our strength already and have experienced everything life has to offer. And a lot of us think that sex and drinking are where our strength is made. Our ideas of how to become a man and what it means to be a man have become something negative. But what a true man is has never changed. A true man is someone who people can rely on, someone who is vulnerable, someone who is confident. He has the strength to admit wrongdoing and a moral code to not chase after objects. He's not a drinker, womanizer, or emotionally unavailable. But these are the idea that many people get, regardless of gender, when they think of what a masculine man is. The idea is that masculinity comes from obtaining objects as opposed to gaining an internal confidence could not be further from the truth. These objects mostly include money and immense power over others. But masculinity is not an external idea. You cannot buy your idea of what a man is. You must face this eternal conflict that all men have to deal with. Now let's talk about the importance of masculinity, what masculinity has become, and how to become a true man. Someone who is masculine has inward strength, confidence to be vulnerable, and an inward peace. Someone who is masculine isn't the loudest or physically strongest in the room, but the most assured in one's own abilities. This confidence involves not only knowing what you're good at, but being able to admit your faults. In high school, I always felt that whoever could have the most sex was the manliest guy in school. I would say to myself that a man is strong, so the stronger the guy, the manlier he must be. This idea also bled into the fact that people that said they are great at everything never showed emotions. An emotionless person must be very happy, I would think to myself. But as I grew older, my opinion of this changed. I found that most of the time that person is over-exaggerating their accomplishments and neglecting their own faults. I also started meeting people who were truly confident in themselves, and I looked up to them. And it was talking to these successful people that I stopped wanting to be the manliest guy in every room, but learned to want to be the most confident in myself. These successful people weren't the richest, they didn't have the nicest stuff, and they were not spending time trying to hook up with as many women as possible. But these true men had an unstoppable attitude combined with a high moral code. These true men showed me that being a man doesn't involve acting like I was doing okay or rambling up about some exaggerated story I just came up with, but it involved breaking off from the easy route and doing challenging things that may not always work out. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I pray we can start a change in how a man is seen. A misconception about masculinity is that being emotionally unavailable is being strong, but ironically, it is what makes us weak. Being scared to face yourselves or what others think of you is the equivalent of running from danger. But the most important thing these true men showed me is that true manhood comes from being able to break away from the crowd and find comfort in myself. The real challenge of being a man is being able to admit your faults and also deal with them. When most men think about vulnerability, it usually has to do with weakness. Being vulnerable is often referred to as a negative. Many of us believe that other men will beat up on you if you admit your insecurities. In my experience, when I admit my insecurities to other men, most of the time they share the same problems. Very seldomly does someone have a negative comment when I say what my own problems are. But the person who says these negative comments is in such a deep loss that inevitably I will pity that person. I believe it to be somewhat ironic that I believe the most masculine man is able to share how he's feeling in order to get better. Most of us men are afraid to be ourselves, let alone find who we are. We conceal ourselves behind fancy cars and expensive items in the hopes that no one will be able to find out who and what our real insecurities are. When I first started being vulnerable and sharing my insecurities, it felt like I dropped tons of weight I'd been carrying my entire life. And surprisingly, this allowed my friends to open up more about their problems. Everyone has insecurities, and saying them out loud is very important. Being vulnerable is one of the hardest things to do. Being vulnerable means you ask for help and are willing to accept it from others. This involves facing our own insecurities. This is the only way to get us true strength. No one can figure it on their own. We must learn from our own experience to discern what is right. But setting up an impenetrable forces around yourself is one of the tenets of what people refer to as a toxic masculine. A toxic masculine person has shut themselves off from the world so much that they don't know who they are anymore. And more importantly, the closer anyone gets to becoming emotionally attached to them, the more aggressive they will become. People like this would say admitting that you are wrong or insecure will make you look weak, which is a complete lie. Weakness is being afraid to admit that there is one. The ultimate way to fail is to run away from challenges. How can it be that when a man comes in contact with his insecurities, that running away and acting like they don't exist is what a man would do? Becoming a man involves facing your challenges, whether physically or emotionally, and being able to overcome them. We all have fears, insecurities that we want to deal with, but somehow the current idea of what a masculine man would do is to act like they don't exist and run away. That's not what a man would do. Not wanting to become vulnerable hardens us to the world and instills great fear that other people may figure us out. These fears keep us where we are. They tell us to stay at home. They tell us to stay comfortable. It tells us to stay in the crowd and don't leave or you will be judged. No one has ever found himself by sitting on the couch drinking beer. Running towards challenges is how to find yourself. But noticing where the challenges are and overcoming the fear to face them is where the challenge lies. Vulnerability makes us stronger because it allows us to deal with our shortcomings and not be consumed by them. But being vulnerable is only the first step to becoming truly masculine. Sharing your problems isn't how to become stronger. It's using advice from others to face your fears and becoming the strong man that we all can become. In society, there are many people leading men into emotionless pits, but some of us have owned their emotions and leveraged them to become close to superhuman. David Goggins is a social media sensation. He is a Navy SEAL turned cultural phenomenon. He's reliable, confident, strong, and uplifting. He's an all-around great example of who a man can be. Listening to him talk, it's easy to see him as someone who just pushes away his fears, but that is not the case. He went through years of feeling worthless and lacking any purpose. But instead of following the idea of what a toxic man would say, he really searched for his fears and admitted them to other people, and began the process of beginning to break them down. It wasn't easy, but one by one he broke down his fears and insecurities. Today he's found himself emotionally and been able to be in control of himself. He didn't just wake up with that attitude of, I'm not going to stop. This attitude was built day by day. Now he is reaping the benefits of that hard work by having self-control, discipline, and a confidence that no one can break. That is what is inside all of us. David Goggins is not ignorant to his faults. He does not act like they don't exist. He faces them and overcomes them. Though he does fail at some things he tries, he is not afraid to attempt them. That is what makes him a real man. We can all work hard and become strong physically and mentally, but we need to start. David Goggins is a great example of someone who broke down the internal barbed wire fence and became vulnerable to his own mistakes. He hasn't gotten to this point in life without facing many challenges. Challenges are a vital component in becoming a better person and a better man. Challenges are what forges the man. Everyone should try to find things that challenge them physically, mentally, and emotionally. You need all three in order to become your best self. When facing challenges, it is necessary to have confidence that you can make it through. Confidence is being unafraid to face things that are terrifying and overwhelming. Breaking away from the crowd can be terrifying. Getting judged by others for being who you are can feel overwhelming. But confidence allows you to overcome the fear. Now let's talk about where to find that confidence. Today we men pick fights that we're sure to win and try things that we're sure to be good at. Picking sure-win battles does not challenge you. No confidence is gained from doing something that you will not lose. It doesn't make you a man. We continue conquering molehills when there's a mountain waiting in the distance. We need to face the mountain and climb it. But we all have our own mountain to conquer, and that's what makes it difficult. My mountain is trying to be a better Christian. This involves a balance between having strength and humbleness. Some other people's mountains may be to help as many people as they can, with money or through some charity. Others may be becoming the best musician or artist that you can be. Whatever your mountain is, make sure to put it at the center of your universe. Don't put any human in the center of your universe. That includes yourself. But an idea or lifestyle that you want to put. I try and put God in the center of my universe. An idea that I want to live up to. Don't be someone else because others want you to. Don't lose the power and the fire that you have in yourself. In a circus, there are some very powerful animals. Some of the mightiest animals in the world are controlled by a man with a single whip. After time in a cage, the ruler of Sahara, the lion, will forget it's a lion and turn into a house cat. In that same time, the tied-up elephant will forget its strength and remain tied with a rope. Many guys want to feel like a man, but we forget the power that we have in our lives. We allow ourselves to be controlled by others and forget who we are. We allow life to bring us down and no longer continue to challenge ourselves. I don't really want to exercise because it's too late to start. I'll never be as good as some famous person, so I begin. I've done something for so long, there's no way I could give it up. But the man is someone who's able to stand up for themselves, face these challenges, and not act like they don't exist. We must all face our own challenges, and no one can face them for us. Don't allow yourselves to be brought down by other people's journeys either. Former President and famous outdoorsman Theodore Roosevelt said this about human society. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. So what his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Do not be the guy who's afraid to jump. Be the guy that other people want to follow into the deep.